Alright everybody, we are back with our next game. We have Virtus.Pro going up against Gamers2 on the first map, and the teams, they just started the draft. We're actually going to jump into the first one. It is Infernal Shrines once again. And well, here we go. Not quite yet, because this thing has no global hotkeys, which is a disaster. There we go. We have Gamers2 going up against Virtus.Pro in our best of 3. This is the second semi-final, the WCA Pro Qualifier, actually the Open Qualifier for Europe. And in this case now, Infernal Shrines is again the map. Now we've seen already here the Vikings played several times here, which is one of the reasons why we're seeing a ban here immediately by Gamers2. We also have Abathur now banned out, which serves a similar purpose, not quite to the same extent, but Abathur in general is now very solid in a lot of combinations, so Virtus.Pro getting rid of him, which leaves us actually with not only Uther, but we still have Kalthas. Jaina is going to make up a pretty solid setup.
Yeah, a lot of very powerful heroes have been left available, and this is why Virtus.Pro are taking such a long time to actually pick their first hero, because it's like, oh, we are so spoiled for choice, so they're just trying to work out what, which way they want their comp to go. If Uther's the most flexible one they could pick out, work out which way they're going from there. But they really want to go out with, they want Uther first, and give up the first choice of Jaina or Kalthas, if they want those, and they do in fact go with the Uther.
Yeah, Uther, of course, a very solid first pick, and it's very likely that Gamers2 is going to pick up that Kalthas right now. I mean, we have Kalthas, we have Jaina, those are the two damage dealers that most teams are fighting over these days. When we're looking at this map in particular, we have a bit of a focus on Sylvanas for a lot of the teams now as well. We've seen it in the last series already where Fnatic was playing, which can be pretty solid. Question is if Gamers2 is maybe going to head down a similar path. Uther, of course, we've been talking about that flexibility that he gives you when it comes to a melee assassin. You can try to play a Carrigan, you can go into an Illidan if you want to. There's a lot of options of what you can actually use, but now we have that Kalthas focus here for Gamers2, so that's already looking pretty decent there.
Yeah, Kalthas start off with getting the first choice on those mages. Very unlikely they'll pick up the Jaina as well. The days of double mage passed quite a while ago. It's very rare we see that now, so we're more likely to see the first pick on Warrior come in from Gamers2 here.
Yeah, with the Warriors in general, especially Muradin, Arthurs, they are very, very popular now. When you have Muradin, you can also go into that Tyrande, Jaina composition. And Gamers2 has to actually be a bit careful, because if, wow, they pick Harrison,
really?
Virtus.Pro can go Tyrande and also into Jaina if they want right now, or they can go Muradin, Jaina, whatever they want to do. It allows them to work towards a sniper combo, and with Jaina also have some AoE damage that they can utilize to just drop minions on those objective fights.
But taking the Kharazim at this point it's a bit weird. Like, obviously it's just before the ban phase, so maybe Gamers2 just really prioritize that Kharazim and just don't want him banned out in the second ban phase, so prioritizing that straight away. But considering Virtus.Pro already had their Uther, it would very much be targeted. There's the Jaina, and what is it going with? Like you said, could it be the Muradin? Could it be the Tyrande?
Tyrande or Muradin, one of the two. I wouldn't be surprised to see anything else, because that setup allows you to be so aggressive. You could also play, if you go Tyrande now, you could try and play later on with an Arthas instead of a Muradin. If Muradin is taken away from you, it still serves a very similar purpose. It's not quite as effective, but they decide to go into an AoE hero. Now, that is something that before the patch, I would have definitely said we see Leoric a lot earlier, and also Johanna, but now a lot of the wave clear that you have on the two heroes has been taken away. So that's a bit surprising to me that we have a Leoric now for them. I really thought that they would try to go for a bit of a more sniper-heavy comp first, and I feel that especially Muradin is extremely strong at the front line. They played yesterday already with the Leoric, but that's kind of interesting. Now I want to see if King Gamers2 is actually going to respond with maybe even a Johanna here.
We will have to see. There is the Kerrigan ban for starters, though, just getting rid of some of that lockdowns. Another hero who you could, in theory, combo with the Uther, like you said last time, and the Jaina for that incredible burst damage you could get out. And Virtus.Pro, they can ban out a Warrior pretty safely now. Like you said, they already have the Leoric, they have some wave clear on their own. They'll probably pick up another Warrior for themselves, but since Gamers2 haven't picked one at all yet, they can at least limit the options.
There's also still Tyrande available. It's not a hero that I would say that Gamers2 is going to pick up. If so, then it's more likely that Virtus.Pro is thinking about picking her at this point. There's the Warrior ban that you've been talking about. For Gamers2, it's now a scenario where they actually have to think about, do we pick Tyrande? Do we allow our opponent to get her if they want? Virtus.Pro doesn't have to take her, but they have the option to go still into a composition where Tyrande plays a role, can add an additional stun, get a bit more heal in. So Virtus.Pro, with that setup that they have, even though that Leoric is still not consistent with the rest of the heroes that they picked, is still extremely flexible.
Yeah, Virtus.Pro, like you said, the Leoric's definitely more for the wave clear and the area control on those shrines, as opposed to that burst composition that the rest of the hero picks. did more lean towards. So Gamers2, they could definitely pick out something from the rest of that burst comp if, like you said, that's what Virtus.Pro wants to go down. Taking their time, going very into their bonus pool. I would suspect at least one of their picks to probably be a Muradin, seeing that would be their first racing tag, or a Johanna.
Muradin, Arthas, Johanna are the tanks that they most likely think about right now. Keep in mind that we also have still Sonya in the mix. We also have a Tassadar that has played a huge role when it came to melee assassins or just like these bruiser-type warriors like Sonya. So you can use a Tassadar with this. We have seen the Sylvanas. We mentioned that a bit earlier during the draft, so they can go into that push composition. And it is solid. The Tassadar is there. And now they have one single pick, and I'm really wondering what's going to be their frontliner. They could theoretically, with this setup, also just play a Sonya solo and don't have to go into a Muradin or an Arthas. Sonya is not as sustainable as other heroes that have a higher hit point pool, but with a Tassadar and a Karazim in the mix, they can really try and play that.
To deny this, though, Virtus.Pro could absolutely also go for the Sonya. They have that Uther for the Divine Shield, so they can go very heavily. They have the Lyric as the main tank part of this. So if they wanted to deny this away from Gamers2, now would be the time to pick it up, as it is their last two picks, and it will give them a bit of extra damage for that front line as well.
Now, interestingly enough, with the setup that we have for Virtus.Pro, Tyrande could still be a part. The one thing that Tyrande is lacking if you're not going into Starfall is that AoE for the fights later. So that's one of the things that you have to really think about. If it comes more to damage and single target damage, heroes like Vala can be a good choice, even though with Vala you usually see a multi-shot build on this map in particular, because you get a lot of minions during the fights on the objective, and there she is. We will most likely see that multi-shot build for her. And we have Virtus.Pro now with the option to go either even for another utility hero or add something to the tank line at the front, and that would likely be either a Muradin or an Arthas if they don't want to go down the road that you just mentioned and add the Sonya to the team.
Yeah. So right now, just running down what little they have left of their time pool, going to make that decision, and all of them very, very viable. Throwing in another warrior for the front line. Arthas would be very nice just due to the fact that his Frozen Waste is going to really help him clear out those camps. And there's the Muradin, though, the more safer and secure pick.
Yeah, so Muradin for the stuns, stun into Blizzard. And now, Gamers2, is it going to be the Sonya? Do they really risk that? Sonya is still very strong with that setup that they have. Divine Palm to keep her alive if they want to use that over the 7-sided strike. Tassadar with a Leeching Plasma on level 4. But she is not as tanky as an Arthas, for example. Or also other heroes that they could use. They go for Johanna instead, so they don't run that risk. It would be more damage for them. It would have been a more aggressive setup, but they say, hey, we have enough damage already on the board. We don't play that bruiser type hero as a solo frontliner. We want to have something that has a higher hit point pool that is just a bit more sustainable, especially with that Iron Skin. We are going into Johanna here.
Yeah, it is very interesting. Gamers2, they have a very AoE heavy composition here. Johanna going to be very nice. Tassadar Storm, Sylvanas with her W, the Frozen Dagger, the Shadow Dagger.
Lost Soul at the start, yeah.
Yeah, Lost Soul, the cooldown reduction on it as well. And Kael'thas with Flame Strike as well. Lot of good AoE abilities here. So it's going to have a lot of work on those shrine areas. And it's a very similar style here for Virtus.Pro, who have the Leoric, they have the Jaina. So it's definitely going to be a race to see who can take those maximum demons first.
Yeah, when it comes to that AoE damage, it's really going to be extremely interesting because you have the Storm. Like, both of these teams have a lot of wave clear. We have, for example, that multi-shot that we've been mentioning already earlier on Vala. That's at least what we would assume is going to be the talent build. So far, every single time a Vala was played on Infernal Shrines, it was a multi-shot build. We've seen the composite arrow on level 1 for the extra range. You can get with Frost Shot later on also some control. The Sylvanas is, though, in addition, to me personally, it's really cool to see Sylvanas on this map in particular. It's very similar to the Viking style, where there is a map where a certain hero definitely gains a lot of value or importance. And in this case, it's the idea of pushing with the Punisher as much as you can, disabling the towers, disabling the forts, moving in and trying to get the most value out of the objective. But first of all, you have to secure the objective.
Exactly. It's very similar to, like, Sylvanas has two maps I say she really does well on. This is absolutely one of them for that exact reason. The other one, too, I'd say a bit of a lesser degree at this point, would be the Tomb of the Spider Queen. Due to the fact that you are focusing a lot more on pushing, making damage for the Web Weaver, and then pushing with the Web Weaver, where you've got 3 of them, but it's very easy for an opponent to come down, zone you out, and kill off the Web Weaver, whereas if you're fighting an Immortal as well, there's a good chance the Immortal could, instead of you know, die to you defending it, could actually just jump on you and kill you if the rest of the team reacts to it.
It's in general one of the best things that we have in Heroes of the Storm, with Blizzard changing the maps, balancing them out a bit, and making these small changes like we've just seen to Infernal Shrines. You have heroes that shine on a certain map, are not as strong on another one, and that is absolutely amazing. That's something that we see more and more. The more patches Blizzard brings out, the more balancing comes into play, the more heroes we have in the game now, of course, as well, since it creates diversity here too. So this is pretty awesome. And especially Infernal Shrines is now suddenly a map that we see a lot. Before the patch, that didn't really happen. Everybody was trying to ban it out, except for a few teams that played it every now and then. But now it's one of the most standard maps that we have, at least this weekend.
Yeah, and talking about the fact that heroes gain advantage on different maps, it is something we have had since Alpha, mostly with heroes like Brightwing and Falstad, who would gain global XP advantage. And
well, we go straight into our game, and at this point, we have game number 1 on Infernal Shrines between Gamers2 and Virtus.Pro. To the left side of the map, it's the Polish team with Sylvanas played by Nika. We have Shihu on Johanna, Yuvo and Tacita, Leo from Korea playing Karazim in the support role, and we have Bashek on Kelthas. To the right side of the map, it's our Russian team with Sevkaja on Vala, Unstable on Uther, Anilendi on Jaina, Gela playing Muradin, and BKB jumping onto Leoric here. A lot of wave clear for both of the teams. Very solid positions actually for both of them when it comes to the fights for the objectives. But this is definitely going to be a fun game. Like when it comes to the lineups, both of them have a lot of AoE, also a bit of single target focus when we're looking at especially Virtus.Pro with that stun combo, Uther, Muradin having the burst damage thanks to a hero like Jaina. So yeah, this should be a pretty nice game, and it's probably going to be a bit closer than the last semifinal that we've seen here at the tournament.
And to start off, both teams going for this 5-man minion block, and what that results in is the minions meeting almost in the dead center again. Now both teams going to try and clear it very quickly. Looks like here the Virtus.Pro do come out that little bit better in clearing the waves. No, it is actually Gamers2 who do win that out. Virtus.Pro starting off a bit quicker, but Gamers2 winning out in the end.
We have already seen a slight adjustment when it comes to the talents. First of all, we have on Vala, as expected, the multi-shot build, since you want to have that AoE that shines when the fights over the objective happens. Not only because you can dish out more damage against your opponent, who is probably going to be clustered up quite a bit, but also because you will at the same time take down a lot of these minions that you try to, of course, collect. We have on Sylvanas no barbed shot, but instead it is now with the wind as the talent. Barbed shot can be pretty strong because it also helps you to take down these minions, which is pretty cool when the objective happens. But in this case, it's the extra range that we're seeing on Sylvanas, which will allow her to position herself a bit farther in the back.
Yeah, allows her to harass much better, in the same way that Vala is able to do the same with the composite arrows. They'll be able to stand a bit on the outside of that typical area and avoid the huge AoE damage that could come in from heroes like the Jaina, like the Kael'thas, if they were to stand in the middle of the shrine area.
Another interesting fact, by the way, is that Gamers2 is the only team out of the 6 teams that did not qualify for BlizzCon at the European Finals in Prague, that did not change players. Every other team out of those 6 has changed at least one player. Gamers2, the only one without any roster changes. They lose Johanna here at that early fight, where we have the objective already up, so a heavy commitment at the bot lane with 3 heroes. But now Virtus.Pro can move to the top. They changed out Kuni-chan, he left the team, and now Gela is currently playing with the Russian team here. Nika and the rest of the Polish roster already in the mid lane here, and of course we're also going to see Johanna back to business in just a second to help out.
Yeah, everyone's beginning to group up. Johanna just arriving in time, and now we finally have all 5 members from both teams. A very big advantage for Gamers2 to start with it in that these demons. Uber moving back, drops the healing ward here, giving his team a bit of more sustain. As such, Johanna goes very hard in here. Sevkaja having to vault out of there, and she's taking a lot of damage. And down goes the Karazim here, getting caught out, and that's going to be a huge problem.
Oh, BKB keeping himself alive. Oh my god, he's still living. Johanna is down, and BKB, he dies. But so does Tacita now. Wow, the slaughter. Kelthas down, Tacita on, everybody dying. It is still the blue team that secures the Punisher. So we have a look at that XP. We have such a huge change of 5 kills against 1. When it comes to the kill count, Virtus.Pro absolutely dominating this battle. But the minion fight, the objective fight, that was won by Gamers2, and now they have to use that Punisher to make up for that experience disadvantage. And I'm not quite sure if they can really accomplish that.
They have managed to split up a bit more efficiently than we do see Virtus.Pro doing so. BKB moving on to Bashek here, but with Leo from Korea, Bashek will be able to back up pretty quickly. Punisher goes down very fast as well, but Gamers2 were able to move up to the top lane and the bottom lane a lot quicker than Virtus.Pro were, so they're able to get to that level 6, but like you said, Virtus.Pro still holding on to that lead.
That was really well done, and that was one of the cool things when you're looking at these fights on the objectives. You can either go for your opponent's heroes and try to focus them down, or you can try to just like get these minions. Ideally, of course, with a lot of AoE, you will try to do both at the same time, but right now we have Virtus.Pro with a much bigger focus on the actual team fight than the minions there. They hit level 7 a bit faster, and once again we see the wave of light for Uther already taken here. Another fight over there in the mid lane where Bashik just barely escapes. Yeah, so pretty good style here in the game. I really like it. 6 kills, only 4 minutes in. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, it's going. It's very interesting for both teams here. Gela moving down to that bottom lane. Shehu and Neo from Korea are already here to try and interrupt, but they can't really fight. It's going to be 2 tanks slapping each other. Very little will actually happen.
One of the things that I also want to highlight is that we don't have any Conjurer's Pursuit on the side of Jaina. Jaina actually went for a build that doesn't give her any mana back. Deep Chill into Snowstorm into Frostbitten. Oftentimes when Conjurer's Pursuit was not the level 1 talent, you will see Arcane Intellect on 4. We don't have that here, so it's a full damage utility build that we are seeing for her, and that will mean that at some point Andy Landy has to be careful with his mana management, but it still gives him a lot more power. We also have now with the level 7 talents coming to play for the Polish team, Gamers2 going straight into Conviction, so a full Condemn build that Johanna has executed.
Yeah, Jaina does have the option of going into Icy Veins on that level 13, but it would be at the replacement of that advanced Ice Block, which is such good protection. There isn't a huge amount of dive potential, though, on the side of Gamers2 to really go in and kill her, but it could be used against the Wailing Arrow or Chain Bomb, something like that.
Icy Veins still very, very strong. That late in the game, of course, your mana pool, your mana management is a bit easier. In the beginning, though, we have Andalendi now definitely in a situation where he has to be very careful how much he spams his spells, especially if he wants to catch these tributes or these objectives at the top. BKB already securing a few. Johanna running into a bit of a problem there and dying. Very unfortunate for Gamers2. Up at the top, they're trying to secure a few of the minions, and they indeed do. But now we have Virtus.Pro moving in with a 5 versus 4 scenario. They go straight for Tacita. Juve! Oh, escapes the healing ward in perfect positioning, and also the shields helping him out.
Yeah, and that does mean he stays alive, so only 1 kill out of this entire Shrine attempt here for Virtus.Pro, but they do now have control of the area and have taken a slight demon lead. Gamers2 reacting very nicely here, just going to split up into the mid lane and the bottom lane and get as hard of a push out of it as they can. Mid lane, a lot of focus here, and with Sylvanas, they won't be able to get a 4 here due to everyone roaming down from Virtus.Pro, but able to get both towers, and very nearly will the minions get the fountain before Sevka? Yeah, able to grab the fountain.
Great decision here on the side of Gamers2. That was really well played because they realized that level 10 would hit any second if Virtus.Pro forces a few minions down. So they decided that they wouldn't want to risk it and instead move into the mid lane, take a few structures, try to do the same thing down at the bot lane. Nika already jumping away with a Haunting Wave at the same time. The Sun against Shehu. Shehu in trouble, and Johanna dies once again. Currently the punching back in the game, the only tank for Team Gamers2, and Virtus.Pro is just completely exploiting that. At the top lane, the Punisher is pushing. Finally, we have level 10 ready for the Polish team now as well, but the top lane is being pushed heavily, and Bashik just barely escaping.
Yeah, Punisher punishing Bashik for being quite far forward there, but a 7-sided strike just annihilates BKB straight away here. He's just going to be ghosted around this area, making sure that he can see everything that goes on after the Punisher does fall. The rest of his team, we're going to be pushing quite hard in this mid lane. Tacita and the Johanna are here to defend, but Johanna played quite far back. I think she's beginning to learn that this is dangerous to hang around.
This is pretty dangerous territory, and especially with Divine Palm not being used, but instead 7-sided strike adding additional damage to the team's lineup. We now have, of course, no panic button anymore that Charism can use to keep someone like Johanna alive. She herself is, of course, extremely tanky, but still, if you're the solo tank for your team, you need to be careful. There is Tacita, though, with a shield and Charism as well, so that should be enough sustain for the team here. We have still a level lead for Virtus.Pro, and with 7 kills against 2, they have a very good standing now in this match.
Yeah, and that was actually was that the first Punisher they were able to get? I think it was. Gamers2 grabbed the others despite losing some of the fights there.
It was only the second Punisher, so for now it's actually an even trade between the two.
Yeah, so it's going to be quite interesting here. We do see BKB moving back up to this top lane, begin soaking away Bruiser Camp being taken by Gela and Andy Lendy. Bot lane, pretty much abandoned right now, but we're finally seeing Sevka moving down here, just going to get a bit of a counter push on that.
Up to the top lane, Nika going up against BKB. Experience soaking is now important for the two teams still. Level 13 is the next milestone, especially for Virtus.Pro, who are a lot closer to the next talent as Gamers2. So right now it's mercenaries on the map that you're trying to get. You are trying to get a bit of experience. There's a level 13 talent that we've been talking about. And that actually adds a lot to Virtus.Pro now. Not only Frostshot, which synergizes so well with the first two talents that we are seeing on a multi-shot Vala, but also the Shrink Ray, which helps you control these fights a lot more. We are seeing, in addition, a bit survivability for Jaina using that ice block now. And that really is going to help with that next shrine that is activating right now. It's a great advantage that Virtus.Pro has, and they should be able to secure this Punisher.
Yeah, moving in with 4. Vala will be moving up in a second right now, just staying down in bot lane, clearing up the mini wave quick as she can. Gamers2 moving in to attempt a contest, though. They have all 5 members here. Zevka going to be a little bit late to get up here. Gamers2 need to make a move while Zevka's still moving, but they've left it too late, and now it's going to be a 5 versus 5 if they choose to contest.
Finally, level 13 versus 13. That's the chance for Gamers2 to join the fight here at the objective. They have their talents now, and they're grabbing them and moving in immediately. BKB already in the move with the Wraith Walk. We have in the back line the Ring of Frost hitting, and look at Tassalat just barely surviving here. Shiku is rushing away once again, using that Iron Scan. You with the wall in the back line. We already have him with a healing ward, trying to keep everybody alive, but the Punisher for the red team is coming in, and the kill against Vala in the last second, but counter-killed by Karazhan.
BKB pushing in here, trying to finish off Yuva, but Forceful gonna trap him in here, but there's no follow-up damage instead. Gela diving in there with very little health, looking to try and get Tasta, but Tasta with Dimensional Shift does escape. Like you said, that's the Punisher, a 1-for-1 trade in kills, and Virtus.Pro still keeping that 1 level advantage.
Yeah, Gela getting a bit greedy there at the start. She did a pretty decent job there. Jumps in again and hits that Storm Ball, but she just barely does not manage to hit it, and that could have meant another kill. But in this case, both move away. 13 versus 14 now in experience. Punisher still not able to take down the fort in the mid lane. There is still that slight lead in experience that we have for Virtus.Pro. It's 8 kills versus 3, but that advantage that we're seeing for the Russian team is actually shrinking.
Yeah.
Gamers2 is doing pretty well, even though they lost that last objective.
Yeah, like I was talking about before the fight, Gamers2 had a very short amount of time to attempt and engage before Vala came up, but like you pointed out, they did have a talent disadvantage, so they were waiting it out, and that just gave Zevka the perfect time to get more XP for his team and then move up to help just in time for the level 13s to hit for the full 5-on-5 fight. So perfect timing there by Virtus.Pro.
BKB with the skeleton swings at the top lane, eliminating that bruiser camp, at least trying to. At the bot lane, on the other hand, we are seeing Shiku and the rest of the team once again rushing away. That Storm Ball hitting too. We had Iron Skin used on Shiku, so he dodges it, but Nika eats the full force of the stun. No follow-up though. There was nothing that they could really do in this scenario. But both of the teams that force wall, the panic force wall, I mean, it's a 12-second cooldown, doesn't really matter too much. Yeah. 15 versus 15, and of course, we are going to see that 16 talent going to play a huge role.
We've spoken about it before. Force Wall, one of the lowest cooldown spells, heroic spells in the game. It's so effective, like Napalm, we think it's a bit of cooldown. I think Possession, the recharge on it might. But it's so effective. Yuva just using it here, just because he can, it blocks them from diving him. Unfortunately, he cannot use it to protect this fort, and that will be another fort going over to Virtus.Pro.
Ghastly Reach and Renewed Swing now on 16 with good synergy to give even more wave clear to Leoric when it comes to those objectives, and we have another shrine activating in a few seconds. Again also, give him the X, the Executioner talent variation on Muradin, and with all that slow that we have two talents like Skeleton Swing on the side of Virtus.Pro, and of course Jaina herself, that is a talent that gives you a lot more damage in these fights, and Gamers2 is once again trying to get that talent just in time so that they can contest the objective.
Yeah, Valor in there as well with that frost shots, just everything, just adding a slow here, and as such, Gamers2 only now just starting to group up. They're going to try and move in, but we're just going to watch to see how much damage Muradin can actually do here. An extra 75%. He could be having to back away though after getting caught by that force wall.
Yeah, already the fight raging. Here comes the Blessed Shield, Night Initiation. Immediately the Divine Shield use. Anilen is extremely low, but uses that last second ice block. Well done. BKB is already down, but we have a double kill against Gamers2 with Johanna and Sylvana's dead. Now the Polish team is trying to rush away, and still Virtus.Pro with 21 minions in a great position here. And keep in mind that Leoric is going to be back in just a flash. But look at that Force Wall! Wow!
What a move there. Force Wall into Flame Strike, just annihilating Muradin there. And now Virtus.Pro trying to get the most out of this. BKB is about to come back to life, though, so he's already in the back there. Unstable, very low. Andy Lady low at the top. Leoric comes back, gets double swing onto Leo from Korea. Forceful, trapping Unstable, but there's no one for the damage. Just gets out of the Flame Strike, and the Punisher goes over to Virtus.Pro.
Wow, Juve keeping himself alive here. Got a bit of assistance of Charism as well, and that looked really close. 10 kills against 5. The Punisher jumping in. Of course, Virtus.Pro was able to take it. We have in the mid lane Sylvanas trying to de-push that camp that was taken a bit earlier by Virtus.Pro. 16 versus 17 now. Camp defended. Punisher going through the fort at the bot lane with the help of the Russian team. And now Virtus.Pro starting to rotate up to the mid lane once again. The Punisher just left alone to his versus and jumping in, of course, to damage this wall.
Having a look at some of the talents we see on 16. Blessed Hammer once again coming in for the Johannes with that extra damage. Tassadar with the second strike, not the slow storm as we did see yesterday. I had to double check just in case, because last time we had a look, thought it was the double strike and were wrong.
Yeah, but we have static shield, static charge actually on level 7, so it makes, of course, perfect sense to go into the second strike right now, since you get a lot more out of this in this case now. So that is perfectly fine. We have the Soothing Breeze on the other hand when we're looking at the level 16 talent.
Favorite talent choice in this game, considering what they're up against.
Yeah, for Charism, so right now that helps them a lot, especially, of course, given that we have this many slows on the side of Virtus.Pro and also stuns. So no Circle of Life for the extra healing, but it's a great choice that we're seeing on Charism. It just shows once again how you have to be able to adapt to your opponent's builds.
Indeed, very, very cool. Virtus.Pro going to attempt to get some tower damage down in this top lane. They have 2 sets of Shamans in this top lane as well, but they are arriving a little late. Both towers do go down, and Virtus.Pro, or at least BKB, keeping a bit of pressure on. Of course, he is Leoric. He can leave this basically anytime he wants, even through a force wall. He can just Wraith Walk away.
Interestingly enough, you were with Mecha Tassadar skin decided to go for the doubloon as a mount, which I just now picked up on, and did not go for the plane. It's actually
what the skin is for, so you can be a jet. That's why it's so cool. Other than the voiceover, the voiceover is awesome.
It works extremely well, to be honest. It looked pretty good.
Yeah, it's very cool. I agree, but it's still very frustrating.
I don't think so. I think it's pretty awesome. Definitely not what I expected, but yeah, it looks pretty cool. So Camp's taken on the map again, another shrine active, and now this is really where Virtus.Pro is going to try and run with the advantage that they have. The entire game that they've built up so far led to this particular position where they will hit level 20 faster. And look at Gamers2. They are saying, as long as you don't have 20, we can fight. Let's go in and drop those structures, gain a bit more experience before they get that oh so crucial Storm talent, because Virtus.Pro is going to move to the top lane to grab another Punisher, and that's going to threaten that keep at the top lane of Gamers2 severely.
Yeah, Gamers2 backing away from Virtus.Pro very, very fast right now. Tassadar in the bot lane, just trying to get his team some split XP so that they can hit their level 20s as well and begin fighting anew. But right now, Virtus.Pro playing very aggressive. Nika getting engaged upon. Where's the stun? There's the Haunting Wave, but multi-shot to get the slow, and Nika has no chance. Just gets focused down and picked off.
There's the level 22, but Vala gets shielded. Here comes the turnaround. Gamers2 is going for it, but Unstable and Undelanded to get away. Gala is getting a bit low on Miridim, but should be able to jump away.
From behind.
Low, you were from the side with a double storm once again. Gala is still alive, though, and we have BKB in the middle of things. He actually went really deep to help his team out. The force wall already used. They took only a few of these minions, and Gamers2, despite the fact that they don't have level 20, are trying to escape the march of the Black King being used. BKB with the Wraith Walk gets away. Unstable with the Wave of Flight, keeping him alive here, and Sefkasha using his slow on the multi-shot to make sure that Gamers2 cannot force this in.
Gamers2 have literally just hit their level 20s, though. We have the increased range on the force wall, the extra hits on the 7-sided strike, but the 7-sided strike is on cooldown for 1 more second. It is now ready to be used again, but they need to escape it. Then 7-sided strike being used just for the extra damage here. Johanna doing best he can. Leo diving out, as it did make him immune as well. 7-sided strike
is still a 4 versus 5, and therefore Gamers2, they have to retreat. The last battle, it actually happened with them being down 1 hero the entire time, but now it's 20 versus 20. It's a 5 versus 5 as Sylvanas is back with the team. We have Tassadar dropping force wall after force wall. Miridim, by the way, didn't care at all. He just jumped that thing. and did not care a bit. Now we have that fight raging in, and with already 28 minions taken by Virtus.Pro, the Russian team here going for that Punisher. It's a fight on even levels. Ring of Frost in the backline. BKB moving it with the skeleton swing, trying to slow them down. Shiku and everybody else is starting to focus on Leoric on the other hand, and at the front line we have Muradin also joining the battle. But look at Sevkasha eating the bomb, nearly exploding. They're just barely surviving. Unstable is trying to keep it alive, but Leoric is already down, and the rest of the team is going straight for those minions again.
They need 3. Nice iceboxes laid. Skella trying to grab the last of the minions. They get the Punisher, and Gamers2 able to take down quite a few of them here. So that is a trade of a lot of heroes for one Punisher, but it allows Virtus.Pro, at least Sevka and Unstable, to get out of there and regroup.
Gamers2 all of a sudden turning the switch here. Really well played. The entire time they struggle in the team fights. Then with 19-20, they are able to win a battle, force Virtus.Pro back, even though they were down a player, because Virtus.Pro went a bit deep to get that kill against Sylvanas. And now, despite the fact that the Punisher is pushing the top lane with 2 heroes dead for Virtus.Pro, Gamers2 is just moving into the mid lane. They drop the keep, they go for core. There's another 30 seconds until we're going to see Jaina and Muradin back. And Gamers2 is trying to end the game.
Force wall coming down to stop Unstable pushing in. Much the Black King only hits a couple shots. Core is starting to drop. Yuva dropping low, but he's already dropped that healing ward to help his team. Dimensional shifts to get himself in reposition. Core on 50%. It's going down too quick. Still 10 seconds left on the other heroes. And that's going to be GG. And Gamers2
wow,
take the first game.
They take the first game, and what a comeback here. Great play. Gamers2 with a lead in the best of 3 series. Wow.
Yeah. I'm getting deja vu.
Yeah, but that was absolutely incredible. I mean, the entire time they're a little bit behind. They're able to close the gap. Virtus.Pro gets ahead again. And then Virtus.Pro gets that kill against Sylvanas. And they go deep for it. And they think, we got this. We have level 20. Yeah. We have the Punisher up at the top. We got a kill. It's a 5 versus 4. And suddenly Gamers2 just turns it around, and they use the fact that Virtus.Pro went a bit too deep with the low hit point heroes, start to focus on them, push them back. Virtus.Pro runs low in mana. They run low in hit points. They need to move back. Level 20 hits for Gamers2. It's an even fight. And despite the fact that Virtus.Pro takes the Punisher, they lose 2 heroes because of that. And then Gamers2 looks at it and saying, like, boys, we need to do something right now. There are 2 heroes down. Let's push that mid lane and try to end the game.
Yeah, and the 2 heroes they lost were Jada and Valor. Jada and Muradin trying to stay at the top there to grab the rest of the demons. They only needed 3, and Jada with very nice icebox to let Muradin get the rest. But then what do? The rest of your team has been dropped so low while retreating. You have no way out. You are separated from your entire team by 5 Gamers2 members. And you just get picked off, and then you've lost one of your main damage dealers of the Jaina and one of your main CC sources. You cannot hold back all 5 of those members.
It was an absolutely great call by Gamers2 here. They are in the lead in the best of 3 series. The winner will advance to meet Fnatic in the grand final. And guys, the next game should happen in a few seconds. I suppose that we're going to see a lobby in just a minute, and also, of course, the second draft. Once that's ready, we are going to be back with game number 2. So guys, stay tuned, and we'll be back in just a bit with the second game between Gamers2 and Virtus.Pro. Both of them, of course, trying to reach the grand final here. And let's find out together in just a few if Virtus.Pro is able to come back and tie the series up.
There's something building in the air. I can feel it, I can feel it. It's pressing down on me and I can barely breathe. Oh, can you feel it? And I'm surrounded everywhere. I can feel it, I can feel it. It's creeping up on me, but what I just can't see. Or say you feel it. I'm falling into this unknown. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? There's nothing I can do but to give in to the plan. And then the bass kicks in, and then the bass kicks in, and then the bass kicks in. I can
Alright guys, and we are back with our next map. The map has already, well, the draft has already started. We're going into the draft right away. It is Tomb of the Spider Queen, which is going to be the next map. It could be the final map for the best of 3 series, depending of course on how Virtus.Pro does here. It's a best of 3, and therefore we're going to find out if maybe Gamers2 can clinch it out with a 2-0 victory, or if it's going to be Virtus.Pro who is able to tie the series and force the 3rd map. For now we have first pick, first ban for Virtus.Pro, and they decide to ban out Charism immediately.
Yeah, we saw some great use of Charism by Gamers2 in that last game, taking that 7-sided strike heroic and really able to just wipe people with it. And Gamers2 responding with another support in kind, taking out the Uther. They don't want to give that away when Charism has been denied to them.
Yeah, so another ban on 2 of the supports, and that already makes for a very interesting start into the game. Supposedly we're going to see Kel'Thas taken as the first hero here for Virtus.Pro. Now, if you're talking about Tomb of the Spider Queen, there are certain push strategies that you can play. Zagara and Sylvanas are combos that we see quite often, and they actually favor Jaina now over the potential Kel'Thas here. So Gamers2 is very, very likely to pick Kel'Thas. Virtus.Pro, on the other hand, has an opportunity to maybe go into something that can combo that burst damage of Jaina with a good stun. Tyrande comes to mind, Muradin comes to mind. We could see a Stitches here to set this up, and we've lately seen them also with the Diablo. Not quite sure if we're going to see them here today, but that works too if you have the Diablo and Tyrande combination.
Well, Gamers2 bringing out the Muradin, so that at least denies that part of the combo. They still have the option, Virtus.Pro, of picking up the Tyrande exactly like you said. You have raised my hopes unnecessarily by mentioning Stitches. I so hope you're right, but I know you're wrong. It makes me sad.
Stitches is actually a hero that we have seen played several times now in the newest patch, and to be absolutely honest with you, in this case, he is a pretty solid hero on Tomb of the Spider Queen, because you have those 2 turn-in points where you will get a lot of decent hooks. It's something that has been played in the past quite often, and it's one of the maps where we have seen Stitches even before the patch, and now he got buffed.
Tassadar to provide vision of hook targets as well, taken by Virtus.Pro. They're raising my hopes. Stop it, Virtus.Pro.
The thing is, if you really want to play a Stitches, I feel you have to go into Tyrande.
Oh,
there she is.
This is looking
Tyrande,
good.
Tassadar. This is looking very good. We could
Just
see
as a composition
Stitches
on its own.
So the 2 heroes that could really combo with this are Stitches,
Yep.
Diablo,
Yep.
and Arthas.
Yeah, some very good stuff. Anyone who has some huge lockdown, even ETC, but much to a lesser degree, as he's not able to do that solo tank malarkey like the others are able to as well. Gamers2 banning out that Johanna, starting to limit the tank options themselves, as they also have the Muradin already, so just denying everything they can to Virtus.Pro. There's the Kerrigan deny it from Virtus.Pro.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what Gamers2 is going to pick up now.
Yep, they already have a warrior, they already have an assassin.
The healer is also a big question to me now, because
Virtus.Pro could stick with just what they have already.
Malfurion, Brightwing. The thing is, though, that a lot of these heroes that we've just been mentioning, they are not the best to negate burst damage.
Yeah.
So we have quite a solid amount of potential burst damage with that Jaina already, and the Tyrande can of course provide that stun, that first one. The setup that we're seeing for Gamers2 here, on the other hand, is getting a bit more aggressive. They have like one of those bruiser type warriors in form of Sonya, and they have that Sylvanas, which will add not only the silence, but also a bit of additional pushing power. But Virtus.Pro, they've played a Diablo Tyrande, and there it is!
They're going for almost the identical comp, but Gamers2 stole away the Sonya, so what are they going to finish this up with? They need someone else to fill that Sonya role, which was an extra engage and a lot of extra damage. So what can they really fill this in with? Maybe a Butcher could fill in that role. A Tyrael with a good judgment could also fill that.
This is, yeah, well, at this point, I mean, like, I don't think that we're going to, for Virtus.Pro, first of all, I don't think that we're going to see another healer here. They already have everything that they need in form of Tyrande, and they have also the Tassadar. So they could either decide to go even more aggressive with damage, but usually the way that they play Tyrande means that they are going into Seasoned Marksman plus the Searing Arrows. Yeah. That's something that they could use here. So another frontliner would be strong for them. I completely agree there. They could also use additional lockdown. We've been mentioning Arthas a little bit earlier. Yeah. If you really want to go into this Diablo into Tyrande stun combo, you can even make this more aggressive by simply using a hero like Arthas to use that. But also, if they want to have more pushing power, maybe a Zagara. It would be very aggressive, but it's something that they can use. But they go for the Tyrael that you've been mentioning for additional lockdown.
Yeah,
and also
they needed someone else to go all in onto a certain hero and get the stun. It was Sonya with Leap in their last series. This time it is Tyrael. Still very effective. We did see many patches ago a nerf onto the judgment damage, as it was used for this kind of style. Virtus.Pro, super aggressive with this. We love to see it yesterday. We'll have to see if it is as effective in this series. And Gamers2, I would, there's a Brightwing. Very nice choice here. Good polymorph onto some of those damage dealers, like maybe the Jaina or the Diablo. If he try it before he uses his overpower, could really save them from these incredible wombo combos.
Yeah, Brightwing. The thing with Brightwing, though, is it's in general, like, there is no other hero really out there that will help them so much to really get that burst damage negation out there. So I'm very, very...
Rhaegar's gone. They're out of options. The banning's gone really well for Virtus.Pro here.
I feel Rhaegar is the only hero that would have really allowed them to maybe negate the damage, but on the other hand...
I didn't mean it like that. That sounded way more sarcastic than I thought it to, just that But Morales with Safeguard could at least prevent a lot of that damage, but you're not getting the burst heal from Brightwing either, but it's such a risky pick due to the fact that if you focus the Morales itself, it's gonna die.
I don't
very
really
little health.
Yeah, I personally don't think that you can play Morales here. If you play Morales, I think you need to add something else that can help Morales out, like a Tassadar, like a Tyrande.
Yeah.
But I feel like a Rhaegar could have been an option for them to try to keep them alive. He has that cleanse that you need. He has also a bit of burst heal that he can use for that. But they will have to play around this composition quite a bit. So there is the danger that Virtus.Pro is able to make something happen like yesterday, where they just roam the map and start to snipe hero after hero, which is the idea behind this composition. You charge in with Diablo, you go for the overpower, you slam the hero on the ground. There is immediately a stun follow up by Tyrande. She uses, of course, the extra damage on the Hunter Killer. Help me out here. Ranger. Hunter's Mark, thanks. With the extra damage, and then you burst with Jaina. So there's a lot that you can do with this. And then they also have another follow-up potential stun with Judgment, but they can also just say, hey, listen, guys, with all those close quarter fights, we are going to rely on Sanctification instead to negate some of the damage, because we somehow need to keep Diablo alive.
Sank also combos especially well with the Shadowstalk that we could see from the Tyrande here, so she can actually get her full healing out, as it is healing over time, so you can combo that quite well. So instead of going for this all-in style, Virtus.Pro could switch it up quite nicely. A Sanctification, and then when everyone groups up on it, an Apocalypse for a counter. It could be possible here.
Even though level 10 on this map usually hits quite early, the cool thing is that they can decide that later on in the game.
Exactly.
If they get a really snowbally start, then they can just decide, hey boys, we just killed 4 heroes with our sniper comp roaming the lanes. We can really go into a more aggressive style with the setup right now. We don't need that extra survivability for the fights. Let's be more aggressive and try to push that advantage, exploit it while we can, and go for an additional Judgment. So they can play this either safe and sound, or they can just like say, okay, let's go full ham and try to burst them down while we can. So there's a lot of potential that they have. I feel what's going to be incredibly crucial once that level 10 is hit will be that Wailing Arrow on Sylvanas. If she gets a good silence in these fights, then Virtus.Pro's composition might fall apart before the fight even starts. Spreading is really important for Virtus.Pro in these battles.
Could not agree more. I'm also interested to see, like you said, that Wailing Arrow into Sonya Engage could be absolutely terrifying. If you lose the Tassadar in this, obviously he's one of the people who can sustain quite nicely, and you're missing the Forceful, which is intrinsic to getting down the Lightning Breath. If you lose the Tyrande, it's the Vulnerable, it's the extra damage due to the fact they are more than likely going for the Seeds and Marksman build due to the map choice, and you lose out on Starfall if that's heroic they go for. There's so many heroes that if they get picked off here for Virtus.Pro, then their whole team composition starts to become a little wobbly.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm hyped for this one.
I am so hyped. If it's anything like the last time they went with this kind of composition, I am...
Even if it isn't, the fact alone that they are trying it is just awesome. I love it. All right, everybody, the game is on. The second game in the best of 3 series between Gamers2 and Virtus.Pro here at the WCA Europe Qualifier. And we have an amazing composition. I'm absolutely loving it. We've seen it yesterday and we see it today again for Virtus.Pro. But let's first introduce the players to the left side of the map. Gamers2 with Nika on Sylvanas. We have Bashek on Kel'Thas, Yuvan Muradin, Shiku on Sonya, and Leo from Korea playing Brightwing. The right side of the map, it is the Diablo composition. Sefkaje on Jaina, Unstable on Tyrande. We see BKB on Diablo, Andilendi on Tassadar, and Gala on Tyrael. So they're playing without, so to say, a dedicated healer. Of course, Tyrande got buffed a lot when it comes to her, well, like the sustain that she offers the team with Shadowstalk as well, but the main reason why we are seeing her here is of course that stun that she can apply once the Diablo started his own stun comp. So the burst damage on Jaina is going to be crucial. Tyrande is not the only one to keep the team alive. We have Tassadar to help out with that too. And let's not forget that Tyrael can supply his shields as well, but this game is going to be a treat.
Nice idea there from Tassadar, dropping his shield on himself to tank a tower shot and then moving forward to storm the grouped up minion wave. As due to the fact he didn't see it, he knew there was some body block shenanigans going on. However, it was a little bit too early, only got one tick of that Psy Storm off, but still, pretty cool concept.
We have with the win taken on Sylvanas, no barbed shot, which is a talent that is definitely viable on this map here in particular, but the extra range on the shots are quite important. Now we have, of course, Diablo, Tyrande already roaming the map down to the bot lane. Here comes the stun combo and the kill against Chiku. Great first kill on the side of Virtus.Pro. It's that danger that you have, old school style with Diablo, Tyrande, and then you have, of course, Jaina, which always serves the purpose of just getting so much burst damage in thanks to that Blizzard.
Yeah, this incredible combo that's been around for so long, it never stopped working. It is just a situation of Diablo becoming a little bit weaker than some of the other warriors, but Virtus.Pro were like, yeah, this still works. We're in on this, and just get huge amounts of damage out of it.
The cool thing is that we once again have that seasoned marksman built on the side of Tyrande. We've been talking a lot about Virtus.Pro being one of the teams that heavily rely on this start. Again, the attempt to take Sonya down, stun into stun, and the damage. Sonya dead, and kill number 2 for Virtus.Pro. Great play here by them, and of course also unstable getting those seasoned marksman stacks. Normally, Virtus.Pro, one of the few teams that still played with the seeing arrow. Look at Muradin here jumping away and barely keeping himself alive.
Yeah, able to use that dwarf toss to get out of there after only getting hit by one wave of Blizzard. Able to escape, and his trait will now heal up quite a lot of that lost health he just got. But the combo's moving up to the top lane. Brightwing with zero chance of escape here just gets annihilated. And the best part is they could just, especially in the Tassadar lane, they can just dive towers with this due to the fact that Tyrande can heal the Diablo. And the Tassadar lane, Tassadar can shield the Diablo. He can just dive any tower he wants.
They are playing this extremely well, and it's something that they showcased yesterday already against a weaker opponent, but it still showed already a lot of promise, and today they are willing to risk it with such an aggressive composition against Gamers2 being one game down in this series. They have control over the map now. It's level 4 versus level 5. Level 4 talents for both of the teams ready. There is the Searing Arrows. It has been a talent, or it is a talent, has been buffed in the last patch. Now 50% extra damage on those basic attacks, and everything is working out quite well for Virtus.Pro, at least up to this point. But Gamers2, they haven't given up this just yet, and they shouldn't. They have a very solid setup here now too. If they can survive and get even on the level 10 abilities, then with a good silence, they're always able to turn at the team fight.
And we see the gank on the bot lane again. This time, not able to land the combo, but Yuva still taking a lot of damage. Blizzard catches him over the wall, but we're going to see Sonya able to pick up the gems here. But look at the positioning from the heroes of Gamers2 here. Nika, he's just not even coming out. He's just like, no, I do not want this. If I sit, they could dive beyond the tower. I am in danger wherever I am. I need to know where they are before I can farm and just wait for the minions to come to me.
Yeah, we have at this point 4 kills against 0. This early game is going perfectly for Team Virtus.Pro. And well, we have now in regards to the talents also the Fire Devil taken on level 4 for Diablo himself, with a Snowstorm on Jaina being utilized. Tassadar went for the extra vision thanks to the mental acuity, but Andilendi has to be careful. He has his Bashik is starting to move in now too, but a bit of help from Sefkaja is helping out quite a bit.
In comes BKB. They find Kael'thas, who was going for the chase. He gets picked off. However, they do lose the Jada here, who was a bit caught out by Yuva. Now Andy Lendy is a little bit low. Yuva failing the jump though, gets tackled into the wall, pushed over, and gets picked off. Fail of a jump, unfortunately, means a dead dwarf.
Yeah, and Gamers2, they moved away because they realized that level 7 was about to hit for Virtus.Pro, but it was just a bit too late. Now the Red Web Weavers are descending since the Russian team turns in first. Very well done here. Gela actually dropping out of the game at this point with a bit of a problem, a disconnect here on the side of Virtus.Pro, but so far things have been going really well for them. We have the level 7 talents now also in game, so we can talk about those real quickly. We have for 2 heroes battle momentum already chosen. It's Diablo and Tyrael, the 2 frontliners that go for the talent here. We have static charge taken for Tassadar, who on level 1 went once again for the Psy Infusion, the same thing that they used yesterday. Very aggressive play that we are seeing here for Virtus.Pro, and very successful play at that now as well, with 6 kills against 1, and earlier, much earlier level 7, and at the same time now also the first Web Weaver wave.
Yeah, we don't see, looks like they are ready to go again, but we don't see level 7 talent yet from Jane. There it is. It was going to be Frostbitten just for that huge amount of extra damage for this incredible combo.
And no Illidan, no Tassadar, no melee assassin. There's no
it.
real reason to go into Froststormer, so in this case we see Frostbitten.
Oh, Leo. He's gonna oh no, makes behind the wall thanks to the speed from his pixie dust there, so is able to escape.
And Dilendi here has to be careful up at the top lane, as you already mentioned. The attempted gank against Brightwing not successful. It's the Web Weaver wave that is pushing in now. An entire level lead. The talent finally available to Gamers2, with them going straight into the unstable poison. Once again, jumping away. Extra sustain with a ferocious healing for Sonya now. And Muradin, by the way, went on level 1 into block. We haven't even mentioned that yet, but it's of course a talent that you don't see too often. Normally it's either Reverberation or the full hammer build, so in this case it is an adjustment to try and keep the dwarf alive a bit longer.
Yeah, just any kind of extra tankiness for Juve here will help out, even though the only person who's really focused on auto attacks is going to be the Toronto.
Oh, the owl missing. Wouldn't have taken down Leo anyways, but yeah, he's under a lot of pressure here at the top. Look at that experience lead. It is amazing, but maybe they can do something about this with a kill against Toronto. They're going to get that though. Diablo moves in. And Leo is once again a bit low, jumped in with a phase shift. Sefkaja needs to be careful, so does Anilendi. The Stormbolt hits, but look at Muradin Juve. Oh no, he dies. Wow, what a stun by Toronto.
Incredible peeling by BKB there with that Diablo peeling away from his team to make sure that the Toronto didn't die. And like you said, the ending stun there, able to pick out Muradin, who just wanted a kill. Unfortunately, he ended up being the kill.
Very nice attack here up at the top, but BKB already hit by the Gravity Lab, so Bashik making sure that this time there's no kill available for Virtus.Pro. But look at that experience! Here comes another attempt to take down Kel'Thas, and this one's going to be successful. They are close to level 10. They are destroying Gamers2 here. Level 10 versus level 8. The heroic abilities are in play. Sanctification, the Force Wall, the Lightning Breath, and not even Shadow Stalk for Tirana. She's just basically saying, why would I go into healing talents? We are crushing these boys. Let's go for aggression. Let's push them back. Let's add more AoE to the equation.
Yeah, the Water Elemental for the extra damage and chase potential here for Sefkaja. Last time we did go Ring of Frost, didn't catch too many people, but with the Starfall, Lightning Breath, Force Wall combo, they still have the majority of their combo from last game.
So much slow, so much aggression, and there they are again. The blue Web Weavers are released, and this one at the bot lane is not going to have a fun time. Is being bursted down immediately, attacked right away. At the top lane, we have Sefkaja starting to take down the hit points on the Web Weaver, and in the mid lane, BKB is quite busy now as well. And without level 10, Gamers2 can't really do anything to keep these guys alive or push in. It's really a bad spot for them to be.
Yeah, and BKB, despite roaming around the maps for most of the time, knew that he's able to take down this Web Weaver pretty effectively thanks to that Fire Devil talent. He's able to just spam his Fire Stomp and then just stand on the Web Weaver and can actually hold that lane pretty effectively while the rest of the team groups up.
Virtus.Pro, they can turn in again if they want to, and they have that level 10 advantage. They can use that level 10 talent to go in and take down another fort. They need to turn in though if they want to do that while their opponent is still not able to rely on their heroic ability. But Gamers2 is very close, and Muradin at the top lane is trying to get additional experience, and he will be able to make that happen. But there comes the Web Weaver wave. Juve moving away. Sefkaja with the Water Elemental slowing him down even more already. Brightwing starting to jump in. There is no fort up at the top to help out. BKB moves in, and there comes the attempt to take down Brightwing, but just in the last second the heroic ability hits, and the blink heal is being used here. They are jumping in once more, and both of them still alive. Very well done here, dodging the power of Virtus.Pro.
Superb jobs there. Great dwarf tosses all around and some very nice blink heals from Brightwing. But here they come onto Muradin again. He pops Avatar to try and tank through this and jumps to freedom again. And Gamers2, now that they have their heroics as well, are starting to fare a little bit better, starting to be able to get out of these situations.
And Nika is at the bot lane, busy the entire time taking down the Web Weavers, also crushing through the wall. Virtus.Pro, they are still ahead in experience, but they need to make sure that they really capitalize on these level advantages that they have, and they're trying to do that in the mid lane now. They jump in with BKB again, the stun combo hits hard and goes straight for Sonya. The kill is there, 9 kills against 1, and it is also going to be another fort that they can eliminate.
Even with the amazingly timed polymorph, just as that Lightning Breath was about to start, the damage was still too much from Virtus.Pro. And it was easy enough to take down Sonya, but a valiant effort from Brightwing. They said Web Weaver in the mid lane, the short amount of it left is going to go down, but they still were able to get a tower and now still have full map control.
And they use that map control to move to the bot lane and attempt to go for the next and last remaining fort on the side of Gamers2. They have an extra talent now too. And of course it is again Huntress Fury. If you go for the damage build on Tyrande, then you will use well, at least Virtus.Pro uses Huntress Fury. They love this build. They don't go for the additional heal talent that they can of course get here. But it's all about the damage, the aggression, the control of the team fights, and the quick bursts against single targets. And that's where Huntress Fury, of course, absolutely excels.
Yeah, and we also have Tassadar going with a Shrink Ray here, just in case. Like, Gamers2 are in a situation where we're the ones going the aggression, but they are still aware they're against a Sonya. So if Sonya gets into their backline, she could pick someone off. So the Shrink Ray here used as great protection from that.
Yeah, at this point, the boss is being attacked, and it looks like, at least for now, Gamers2 is none the wiser. Andy Lendy down here at the bot is waiting a little bit longer. The boss is nearly gone. Juve sees it, can't do anything about it. He's already slowed, and keep that Huntress Fury talent in mind. Oh, the force wall! He already has his jump out, and he gets stunned, and goodbye Muradin once again. The damage output on the side of Unstable is absolutely insane at this point, especially, of course, with Jaina also adding even more AoE damage to the single target power of Tyrande.
Yeah, amazing job there by Virtus.Pro. Right now, only Sevka staying up with this boss. Rest of the team splitting up, making sure they keep their XP lead. 14-12 right now. BKB and Unstable in that bottom lane. Tassadar and Tyrael in the mid lane. Sevka coming down to join them.
At this point, Gamers2 is just saying, okay, boys, listen up. We need to stay safe here. We need to just try and soak experience. We are losing on all fronts right now. We need to wait until we are on even talents with our opponent and then win a team fight. Hit that so important silence with Sylvanas, and if we do that, we can follow that up with the damage. We have what we need. We need level 13 for Kel'Thas first. We will hit that any second right now. Then we have the chain bombs, get the Phoenix in the chain bombs, get the silence, win a team fight, and one good team fight could bring us back into this game.
Right now, level 13's available for the side of Gamers2, and this is, like I said, their chance to maybe try and make an engage. Still 2 levels behind, but it is their best chance. Chain bomb, spell shields, the shield dust on the Brightwing, the mystical spear on the Sonya here. Basically her only escape mechanism in this situation, and the evasive fire on Sylvanas.
They need to try to turn in now. They have 60 gems. They can turn in. They can get the Web Weaver wave. They have even talents with their opponents. This is the best chance for them to try and get some map control. Gela and the rest of Virtus.Pro, they know that already. They move in and try to deny that turn. And here comes once again a snipe attempt. This time again Sonya. Shiku in a bit of trouble. Here comes the lightning breath. Already using a lot of damage dished out here by Diablo, but not enough to drop a target. And in the mid lane we already have Juve straight in the middle of the team, trying to do as much as he can on his Muradin, but again he dies. Muradin is down. The stun against Kel'Thas annihilates him. 2 heroes down, and that attempt by Gamers2 to get back into the game already denied by their opponents.
Yeah, they made a very good engage there. BKB, his damage completely negated by that phase shield from the Brightwing, but the rest of the team were able to stay alive in the sanctification. BKB backed up, and then they were able to turn around onto that Muradin, and just incredible force walls all around. Incredible
performance here by on Tomb of the Spider Queen by Virtus.Pro. They use the build that they have already used yesterday, and it works beautiful. We have them now also with, again, the Holy Ground. There's even that Stone Skin on the side, or not Stone Skin, actually the continuous overpower here for the double charge. Pretty similar icon here in this case for the level 60 talent.
I don't think we saw this far in the talent trees from the last game, so this is all new.
Yeah, the last game was over at level at 11 minutes into the game, if I remember that correctly. Yeah. Right now, the game lasts a bit longer, but the power that they are showcasing here on this map is absolutely incredible. I mean, 12 kills against 1. That basically tells the story.
Yeah, continuous overpower plus the cooldown reduction from that battle momentum can just turn Diablo into one of the most annoying heroes if you leave him unchecked for too long. And Virtus.Pro looking to try and capitalize on that right now, moving into the mid lane to take advantage of their talent advantage and take down some more towers while they wait for their Web Weavers.
The Web Weavers are going to push so hard right now. A 3-level lead. The Web Weavers and the extra talent. Gamers2 will have a tough time holding on to these keeps now. They will definitely lose one. The only question is, are they going to lose more than that?
Mid lane is the one that is being focused on by Virtus.Pro. Their bottom lane Webweaver pretty far back. The top one, though, is going to begin making its way onto that last remaining tower. Stun lands on Tassadar. Tassadar in a bit of a tough situation, but Shihu completely trapped. Lightning Breath trying to finish him off, but he just gets out. Sanctification dropped on Diablo to keep him alive as well, and no one dies.
Wow, yeah, nobody dies, but that keep is down to half. Bashek in trouble, and Diablo comes in again. They don't even need the stun on Tyrande. They just take him down regardless. Shihu eats the second strike on the Blizzard, and he dies too. It's a 5 versus 3 once again. Sefkash somehow stays alive on Jaina. The keep is gone. Andy Landy and the rest of Virtus.Pro, they move down to the bot lane where the Webweaver already went straight through the wall, and only the keep remains. Level 18 hitting soon. Here comes another attempt to drop a target, and goodbye, Nika. It's Sylvanas who dies next.
BKB is nailing this Diablo play so well. Every single time, no matter who it is, they are just out of the fight the second he gets the engage on them. They get tackled, stunned, overpowered, stunned, into the stun of Tyrande, and then another overpower is available for when he moves back to peel for his team.
BKB and Unstable with absolutely beautiful combos here. I don't think they missed a single combo with Diablo Tyrande here just yet. It was stun into stun the entire time, and then of course always that damage thanks to Sefkash. And especially with that Tyrande build that they have, the single target damage is quite nice to add that to the entire build. Tyrande is actually at this point the hero with the most hero damage on the side of Virtus.Pro, and also has another 25,000 heals at the same time.
She's keeping up pretty nicely. Virtus.Pro just rocking this game right now. And they're moving down to the bottom lane, taking the easy camp, as it's pretty much all that's left except for the boss, and with everyone alive on Gamers2 and the talent literally just evening up, it was much safer to go for the easy camp. And now they can go back to their old style of trying to pick someone out so that they have an opportunity for that boss.
Level 16 hits for Gamers2, and they are taking a risk at the boss here, but they have to do something. They are getting spanked right now, and they are trying to turn that around, but they are in the throw pit, and here comes Virtus.Pro, and they are going straight for Sonya once again. They are out for blood. They're sharks smelling blood in the water, and they get the first kill. They get the second one. It's a 5 versus 3, and Gamers2 is once again on the run.
Another incredible force wall into Lightning Breath, picking off Bashek and trapping Sonya away from her team, allowing her to go down as well. Virtus.Pro will move into the boss pit. Gamers2 will move back to their base to try and defend here. There are still some siege giants which they can clear up, but it's going to be 5 versus 3 for a little bit, but the rest of the heroes will respawn quite soon with a boss in this top lane.
Absolute incredible play here. Really well done. A 3-level lead. I mean, they're so close to level 20 now. They have the boss at the top lane. It's the only lane where we still see a keep available to Gamers2, and it is going to fall within seconds since it's already extremely low. This could well conclude the end of this game. We have not enough, not enough gems just yet to turn it. But once again, this is the first combo that I've seen them actually miss in this game. Nika is getting out alive because of it, but there's still that boss to consider, and Virtus.Pro, they have level 20. They are going to try and end things here.
Yeah, Nika's a very lucky man. In comes the combo onto Shihu. He's not as lucky. He's able to stay alive just though. There's Sanctification forcing Shihu to back away. The upgraded Lightning Breath, not enough to take down Shihu, but it's now on the core. So much damage. Shihu goes down, and they're just going to focus the core. Down goes the Brightwing as well, and this is looking like the end. GG, and Virtus.Pro evens up the series.
Crazy game. It's a 1-1, and we are going to see the third map between these two teams coming up in just a few.
That was awesome.
That was pretty great. What a play there. Again, that Diablo composition with Diablo Tyrande and the aggression right off the bat. 4 kills before anything else happened, and then they are able to get Webweaver Wave after Webweaver Wave. The funny thing is, Gamers2, they secure themselves a Webweaver Wave, and it doesn't do anything for them because they're 2 levels behind. They're up against an opponent that's heroic ability already, and they're thinking, what are we going to do? Move in with the Webweavers, trying to fight this? If they catch us, we are done for.
And even just the perfect lane splitting up there from Virtus.Pro in that situation, where Diablo just chills in the mid lane with his Fire Devil to clear it on his own. The person who's always been roaming, and he's like, yeah, I got that, and just able to take care of it himself. Also, the level 20 talents, we only just skimmed over them. This build just keeps getting scary as we go. Tyrael, at the end, Holy Arena, which increases the duration of Sanctification by 1 second, which is nice for defense, but also increases the damage of everyone in the circle by 25%, so more damage on Tyrande.
And not only Tyrande, more damage on the Hellstorm for Diablo, which is insane in itself. So extremely well played here by Virtus.Pro. Completely different game from what we've seen on map number 1, them even being more dominant. And guys, that means that we have a third map coming up between the two teams. The winner is going to advance to play Fnatic in the next round, and the next game, I can't wait for that to happen. It's going to be so good.
Yeah.
We're going to jump into a short break, and once the teams are ready, we're going to start with the third map in here in the best of 3 at the WCA Europe. So guys, stay tuned. We'll be back in just a bit.
Left me helpless, wanting more. But just as quickly as it came, it disappears and I'm left lying on the floor. But I still feel it.
Alright, everybody, we are already in
Almost.
the draft.
There it is.
We're already in the draft, and we have our ban on Tyrande already, so that kind of cuts down the entire wombo combo potential that Virtus.Pro was trying to unleash successfully, by the way, on map number 2. So right now we're gonna see how they're gonna draft this one, but Kinguin or Gamers2 Kinguin definitely like learning the lesson from the last game. Don't allow them to get that again.
Yeah, that's the third time we have seen Tyrande banned today. Both times in the Fnatic versus Pue team matchup, and now Virtus.Pro really showing like, yeah, this is good. We really like this kind of composition. So Kinguin, Gamers2, sorry, banning that out again, and Virtus.Pro running down their time pool for their first ban again.
I mean, Uther is something that you can ban out here. You can think about banning one of the damage dealers, but they go for a very, very early ban on Carrigan. Now, that's extremely interesting. I mean, there might, of course, be the case that the two teams have been scrimming against each other and know about a few strategies, but that allows now Gamers2 to pick up Kalthas, which is exactly what they're doing at this point. And Virtus.Pro is most likely going to retaliate with an Uther Jaina pick.
Yeah, very solid lineup. We've spoken about it many times before. It's part of a nice, you can add in that Uther because it can add into the Sun combo if you pick up a Muradin later. No Tyrande option for them in this case, but you still get that incredible Jaina damage.
Jaina already taken, and now it's just the question if Virtus.Pro values Uther highly enough to take him here once again, or if they prefer to go down a different path. We didn't see a single ban on one of those heavy supports, so no Karazhan ban. It's only Tyrande that was banned out here, but Virtus.Pro still decides that Uther is too valuable to them to let him go. They still have the option of going into a melee assassin with him thanks to the Divine Shield, and Kinguin, Gamers2 Kinguin, they could now head into one of those warriors. We've been talking a lot about Muradin throughout the entire weekend already, and it's definitely a good option for them, but we have other heroes that are very strong on this map that they could also go for.
Yeah, right now just about to head into their bonus pool. There is the Muradin for the start, so 2 stuns on their side, and just a very nice safe pick in terms of their warriors. Will they pick the Karazhan now to avoid it being banned out in the second ban phase, or are they going to stick with an extra damage dealer maybe, or maybe just another frontliner?
It's actually a very good question. If you don't ban out Karazhan, as you already said, you run the risk that he is being banned. The thing is, though, you still have that Brightwing available, and it looked to me like Gamers2 really values Brightwing a lot, so I don't think they mind too much if Karazhan is banned out. I'm not even sure if Virtus.Pro is even thinking about banning him out here. We have Gamers2 now with that double pick on the front line already, going for Johanna next to Muradin. So I feel like Gamers2 is quite flexible in the way that they play their setups. Virtus.Pro, though, is a team that is very willing to experiment with new lineups, and we've seen that on the last map. They used that setup now twice, once yesterday and once today, both times on Tomb of the Spider Queen, extremely successfully. They might have a good combination for Dragonshire as well.
Yeah, we will have to see. Virtus.Pro not banning out the Karazhan, like we said, banning out the Zagara, really limiting that damage dealer. And Gamers2, they have plenty of options. They're probably going to ban out a tank because they already have their 2 frontliners as well.
Yeah, they could either ban a tank, or they could also like ban out one of the damage dealers. There's also like, of course, that attempt. You could think about banning Tacita here. If Virtus.Pro takes Tacita plus Uther and then decides to go into a melee assassin, that's really a lot of support. It doesn't even have to be a dedicated melee assassin like a hero like Illidan, but Sonya is also still out there. So they indeed ban out Tacita, and that is at least going to make it a bit more difficult for Virtus.Pro to play one of these heroes that I just mentioned.
Yeah, 100% correct. And Virtus.Pro now need to make that decision of whether they are willing to play someone like that with just the Uther as protection, which, to be fair, is how we've seen most of them played pretty much all the time up until very recently when Tastar was changed. So we'll have to see if they choose to go for it anyway. They do still need a warrior in their composition, though, as Gamers2 were able to pick 2 out very early.
When it comes to warriors, and we're talking about the standard warriors that are oftentimes taken, we could see something along the sides of even an Arthur's next to the Sonya that was just like used. They have also played, of course, on the last few, or the first maps where AoE is even a bit more important thanks to the minions that you have to clear for the objectives. Leoric, you can play the Leoric on Dragonshire. It was one of the most commonly used heroes on this map before the last patch when Leoric and Johanna both lost a lot of their wave clear. But there are still a few options that you could go for. We've been talking about Stitches a lot since he's seen a few changes, and back in the day, Stitches plus Uther was a thing since you could hook into a stun and then drop that Blizzard. It's an option that they have. I'm not really quite sure if they're going to use it. I actually doubt it, but it's still something that could be used. It's more teams like Dignitas that have shown in the past that they are still very willing to go into that combo.
Yeah, Virtus.Pro though, bringing out the Tyrael, likely going to be a Sanctification Tyrael. In fact, they are missing that Task Star for the extra protection on Sonya, so instead going for the Sanctification to keep her alive so she can just get a full Whirlwind off.
That Sonya is actually exactly the reason why they banned out Hassada, because they don't want to deal with Sonya with shields, with the Leeching Plasma, plus the Divine Shield. It's just a bit too much. Dealing with her can be so annoying if you don't have enough stuns. And yeah, the Sonya on the other hand she is being a bit countered by the stun on Muradin's avatar, by the Stormbolt itself, the Condemn that we're seeing for Johanna, and also by the Gravity Lapse on Kel'Thas. Not really countered in the way that they can somehow negate that damage, but they will at least be able to reduce her sustainability thanks to Whirlwind. So I don't think that Sonya is going to be able to get too many Whirlwinds out during these fights, and that is helping Gamers2 a bit to control her and also the damage that she can dish out. It would be much worse if there's also like the Tassadai within the play, because then dropping her is really going to be a pain. And Brightwing even helps with that as well.
Not even picking up the Karazim when it's available, and like you said, the Brightwing, yet another hero who can interrupt that Sonya. So Sonya very much going to be relying on her teammates to keep her alive, as opposed to, like you said, the Leeching Plasma and the shields you could get from a Tassadar, and just her own autos and Whirlwinds. So I have to see how well Virtus.Pro is able to protect her and allow her to get her full damage off. And Gamers2, one hero remaining, still a little bit more damage would be quite nice for them. Zagara already banned out, so what are they going to go for?
You can go. You can go false set here. You can go and head into, let's say, for example, Arena if you really prefer that. If you want to have a bit more damage out there, but not really fancy that mobility too much. At the same time, there could be a bit more pushing. A Sylvanas is available, a Vala as well. We've seen all of these heroes in similar combinations, so you could definitely go for that. And it is indeed the Vala over the potential false stat and Reyna that they use here. So that will allow them to go into an arrow build. It could be an auto attack build, depending on what Virtus.Pro is going to draft as the last hero now. Yeah,
plenty of options when you go for Vala. When you go for Reyna, you're pretty much limited into that auto attack. Same with Falstad nowadays. So Gamers2 leaving themselves more options open with this Vala pick, like you were alluding to there. And Virtus.Pro need to finish up their composition as well. They have 10 seconds in their bonus pool, so need to make a decision pretty fast. That unlikely they'll get another frontliner, so who are they going to pick the damage? There's that Falstad you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, Falstad for auto attack damage, which really helps against Muradin and also Johanna. So that's something they can really try to capitalize on with the auto attack, in addition to the AoE damage that we are seeing for a hero like Jaina. So pretty solid lineups by both of them at this point, and I'm a little bit curious to see which team is going to take it here, because I feel like both of the lineups have the potential to really start and snowball a bit. We had Virtus.Pro playing a very, very solid first game, up to the point where they had this one team fight where they overextended, lost to heroes, and lost the game because of that. Then on game number 2, everything changed. Gamers2 definitely not ready for that draft that Virtus.Pro showcased again. And yeah, I'm very, very curious to what's going to happen now in Dragonshire, since Virtus.Pro, I have no idea who's going to win this, to be honest with you. I feel like Virtus.Pro has played 2 incredible games. They lost the first game, more so because of that one fight, but Gamers2 has shown time and time again that if you give them a chance, they're going to grab it and they're going to take it down.
Yeah, and both of these teams, masters of throws in previous games as well. We had, like you said, the first game, they took one wrong fight, unable to do it. Gamers2 very nearly throwing in the first series we did see them in, with some very interesting Falstad play, so I'm quite excited.
They had some fun there,
yeah. They did have some fun indeed. So both these teams been around for a very long time, both incredibly high level. Virtus.Pro, like you said, Gamers2 weren't prepared for that composition from last game. After seeing it twice, I don't think anyone can be prepared to deal with that, other than just going full defensive heroes for the early game.
You just ban out that Tyrande against them on the map, or you try to like get rid of a few key heroes that they have in this.
Diablo
ban on Diablo incoming, exactly. That would be a first. I don't think we have seen Diablo bans in a long, long time.
Yeah, it was like way before his
4
rework
5
that we were seeing
months,
Diablo
something
bans.
like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like ages ago. But well, we have the lobby filled up, so we are starting to see the heroes being picked by the teams, and then we can go into that third map. Keep in mind, of course, that we have also a third game decider match. There's $12,000 in prize money on the line in total. The first place gets $8,000, the second place $3,000, and the third place still receives $1,500. And of course, everybody is trying to get not only the prize money for the victory on the tournament itself, but also that ticket to China for the main event. This is only the European qualifier, guys. There's a lot of money on the line, there's a lot of prestige on the line, and also that ticket to China. The teams want to represent Europe in China. Team Liquid already qualified, and it's going to be an absolutely amazing final.
Yeah, we also had the Asian qualifiers recently as well, and having a look at that, the level of the competition you see from that is outstanding. So whoever is going from here, gotta have their work cut out for them.
Yep.
But seeing the level of some of this, I don't even think the Koreans or the Chinese are ready for that kind of comp from Virtus.Pro if they can sneak it in. Gamers2 been playing very well, and the new Fnatic lineup is just looking stronger and stronger every game.
Yeah, they're looking extremely solid. I mean, Fnatic changed 3 players. They only rely on Breeze and Mena from the old setup. They took some of the Pirates in Pyjamas after they disbanded, and of course we have also Black Scorp, a former Team Liquid player. Team Liquid changing their lineup significantly as well. Basically, all of the teams that went to Prague to the Road to BlizzCon qualifier are changing the lineup right now, with the exception of Gamers2.
Yeah.
The only team out of 6 that didn't make it at Prague, didn't qualify for BlizzCon, that did not change the lineup just yet. Everybody else is currently like in flux. And in the case of Virtus.Pro, of course, we had Kuni-chan, we've been talking about it a bit, who was let go, and Gela is currently replacing him, and so far it's working out for them.
Yeah.
But they haven't won this series yet, and it's going to be once again Gamers2 versus Virtus.Pro, a series that we've seen a lot in the past.
Yeah, we've seen it a lot. We even saw it at the Road to BlizzCon Prague. Was a very exciting matchup there. And we do have 10 out of 10 ready, so hopefully we are going to go. I'm just going to give him a little poke. Yes, go. Okay, so players know they can go. The countdown has begun, and we're going to be getting into game number 3 between these two outstanding teams.
A tie in the series, and this is for both of them, of course, the last chance here. Once again, the loser of this series still can finish 3rd and therefore take some prize money, which is going to be important. We have in the loser bracket, so to say, in the 3rd match decider, already poor team waiting, but you want to get that chance to go to China. Both of the teams are very, very eager to show their skills, therefore, and this is the chance for them. I mean, this is the one shot. Virtus.Pro is want to play this hopefully a little bit safer than on the first map, but the game has started, so guys, let's jump in right away.
Prepare for combat.
Starting to the left side of Dragonshire, our last and final map here between Gamers2 and Virtus.Pro. We have the Polish team with Leo from Poland on a Bright Wing. We have Kelthas, played by Bashek, Shichu on Muradin. Juve for the double warrior setup has chosen Johanna, and Nika is playing on Vala. To the right side of the map, we're seeing Virtus.Pro once again with Sefkaja on Falstad, Unstable playing Uther, Andilendi on Jaina, BKB on Tyrell, and Gela is playing Sonya.
And whoever wins this match is the difference between a potential $8,000 and a potential 1,500. And the difference between, even if they win this and lose their next match, is still going to be double what they would earn if they lose this match and win the next one.
Yeah, at this point also a few questions have been answered since we see the first talents in the game. We have Vala heading straight into a multi-shot build here, not using the arrow build, which is actually quite common on a map like Dragonshire. More AoE for them, and here comes the aggression in the mid lane already, with both teams committing all their heroes to a short brawl here, where Shicho and everybody else is getting away right now. It's a rotation between the mid lane and the bot lane, apparently, that we're seeing from Gamers2, very popular amongst the pro teams.
Falstad, yet to pick his level 1 talent, finally picks up the power throw. Very interesting, because if he'd picked this, he's a marksman, he would have had to have picked it earlier. So just hiding it for a bit, but then again, power throw is really the only other talent we see on that level, so not picking it was a bit weird.
Wow, Gela taking out already. Very aggressive move here on the side of Gamers2. They see an opportunity and they jump on it, get the first kill in the game. Doesn't really give Gamers2 too much of a lead just yet, since there were still heroes on the lane to pick up the experience dropped by the minions, but still, that was already a good start for them, of course. Sefkaja up at the top. It's a bit of a tough time against Chihu's Muradin, who's already waiting in the bush here, and tries to drop that Stormbolt. Not quite yet.
Yeah, Sefka was actually able to out-duel Muradin a couple seconds ago, but it is obviously Muradin, so he's able to heal up thanks to his trait a bit quicker. Falstad's able to.
Yeah, and Muradin is taking good use of that trade already. At the bot lane, we had a bit of a push against Unstable on his Uther. BKB is moving in to help him out. It's still 4 players for Gamers2, thanks to that mid lane, bot lane rotation that we've been talking about earlier.
BKB diving in very deep, trying to get the wraparound onto Nika here. But taking a lot of damage in exchange. Gets knocked up and taken out. And Juve getting a bit of a stun onto the retreating members of Virtus.Pro, but both shrines currently in favor of Gamers2. Nika in the mid lane trying to get it. Gela coming up to deny. and just her presence there will be enough to scare away Nika.
Nika, moving him back because he realized that he wouldn't be able to get that through in time. So for now, they give up the potential Dragon Knight. They have a level 4 a bit faster. They can't really capitalize on this yet, but we have at the top lane our Falstad also taking another shrine, or at least trying to. Gela is starting to help out, but we have Nika and Yuba moving in now as well. In the mid lane, it's only BKB on his Turiel trying to prevent the Dragon Knight, but the bot lane with 2 heroes against 1 is now taken by the red team.
Brightwing going with the Manic Pixie, but what is more interesting is Johanna has taken Raw, increasing the damage on Punish by 50%, so a little bit of damage on Johanna this time.
Yeah, not something that you see too often, but Raw is going to help her to get a few more numbers out there now at the front. We have also a lead for Gamers2 in experience, and Leo, you can really tell that Gamers2 is currently in the position where they are desperately trying to get that Dragon Knight. They're just moving in, attempting to capitalize on that slight advantage that they now have, and always putting pressure onto Virtus.Pro, but it is the Russian team who claims the shrine up at the top. They have control over 2 now, but it is still 1 against 1 in the mid lane, and therefore BKB doesn't really have a chance just yet to move in and grab that statue.
Gala, also outnumbered in the top lane, is driven back, and as such the shrine goes over to Gamers2, denying any kind of dragon being taken by either team for the moment. Both teams just dancing around each other, looking for an opportunity to try and engage Gala once again, taking back that top shrine. Leo poking around this bottom one to see if he can grab it back for a nice trade, but with Sevka and Unstable there, Leo will not be able to take this. Tyrell, though, even if he heads up to that mid area, Johanna is there to deny this.
Oh, nice stun against Nika. He gets away, but the Blizzard drops him. Well played here. Bashek using that Gravity Lapse a bit too late against Andilendi. And now maybe a chance to grab the Dragon Knight. Gela at the top lane is doing a pretty good job against Chihu, keeping that shrine active for the Russian team. And it's Andilendi starting to move in here. Brightwing helps out Johanna. And they are at least for now able to make sure that Virtus.Pro is not getting that Dragon Knight just yet. It falls that dying at the bot lane.
Perfect timing for that kill by Virtus.Pro earlier on, just as their opponents hit level 7, so they were able to at least deny any kind of move being made by Gamers2, but Gamers2 picking up Falsa down there has managed to re-secure their lead a little bit here, and now they can begin making moves. They have the top shrine. They almost had the bottom one, but BKB just in time to deny that away.
Yeah, the secret weapon picked up by Falstad. Now we have a cleanse on Uther. No cleanse on the side of their opponents, though. It's that face shield talent that is so popular on Brightwing right now for very good reason. Having those shields in the fights is absolutely amazing. Once again, we're seeing them moving in here. Johanna went for Sins exposed, and Falstad falling as up to the top lane. Shihu and Gela are fighting, but in the mid lane, that's where we have a 4 versus 3, and Virtus.Pro is outnumbered.
Yeah, they're just pulling back here. Not enough crowd control to really lock any of them down, but easy enough to make them pull back. However, Gela was thinking about sneaking that shrine, but has to back up as she realizes that, well, there's a lot of people roaming up from the mid lane, and she will die if she stays there. So she just gives it up, lets that shrine go back over. But now, bit of a scuffle in the bot lane. Bashek coming in on to Jada, and Jada Living Bomb, no, is able to get out.
Kel'Thas is not, though, and they're going for Brightwing next. Oh, Juve's body blocked, and Johanna is not getting out of this one, is she? Nika already moves in. Brightwing jumps for the face shield, and he gets that in very well played here by Leo. He exposed himself to a bit more damage, but they are both able to get away, and it's still a slight lead in experience for Gamers2. Jaina, on the other hand, moving into the mid lane, trying to get the Dragon Knight statue, but Juve and Nika with a rotation are trying to prevent this, and they are taking both position in the mid lane to make sure that nobody sneaks that in.
Yeah, like you said, incredibly solid move by Leo there with the perfect teleport timing, and now we're seeing Gamers2 moving up to that top area. They think they can fight Gela here. She is outnumbered. Nika trying to micro back away from this Sonya. Nice vault to get behind her and force Gela to back away from the shrine. There's the strafe, gets the finishing kill there. Not going to be enough for a Dragon Knight on either team. Bot shrine did just go over to Virtus.Pro, but Brightwing making her way up to the top lane, making sure that Nika is not picked off there.
That heroic ability hit just in time. You could really tell that even before that, Gela was trying to go in with a whirlwind to get a bit more health back, but she didn't really connect in time to make that work. And then Strafe hits for Vala. Immediately the reaction. Vala using Strafe, securing that kill. Now it's 10 versus 10, but still it has shifted a bit. We have an entire level lead on the side of Gamers2. They are a bit ahead, and they're also now the ones who are again in control of the shrine at the top lane, and they're trying to get the one at the bot lane. We are 7 minutes in, and we still have not seen a Dragon Knight.
We do have a seed to level 10s available for Virtus.Pro. Gela pushing back Shikul here from that top shrine. Now both shrines in favor of Virtus.Pro, and Falstad, he has the Mighty Gust. Uther has the Divine Shields. There's definitely a chance here for a very cheeky Dragon Knight to be taken here. Sevka gets a bit of scouting onto Nika. BKB from the other side. They're going to chase Nika back here, but a polymorph onto Falza prevents any kind of Mighty Gust play. There's the Mighty Gust, and Andy Lendy will get the Dragon Knight here.
Andy Lendy secures the Dragon Knight. Uther at the bot lane secured that shrine long enough against Juve to allow the Dragon Knight for the team, and now Virtus.Pro is starting to move in. They were known as one of the teams that was the most successful on Dragonshire in general, and they had such aggressive strategies on this map that they secured very early Dragon Knights against their opponents and started to snowball. In this case, they are fighting against a very, very strong opponent, though, and Gamers2 has been able to deny that Dragon Knight for more than 7 minutes. Well played here by Virtus.Pro, but it is still an experience lead for Gamers2.
Yeah, it's going to be all about how many buildings this Dragon Knight can get. Shihu even denying the kick away there with a nice Stormbolt from Andy Lendy. So Andy Lendy can't even get near to these towers in the top lane. So it's up to the bot lane, tri-lane here, now a quad lane, to take down the towers. It's only Brightwing defending, so it's very likely they'll get it. We do see everyone else roaming down there, and Juve coming in from behind.
Brightwing was asking for friends, but she didn't ask for this many. Now we have a 4 versus 4 though, and this is also the time when again Virtus.Pro decides to move back. The Dragon Knight at the top lane was occupying most of the team. Shiku actually really aggressive. The Water Elemental already committed at the same time though, and that means that Shiku might be in a bit of trouble here. He doesn't have the Dwarf Toss anymore.
2 seconds, and Brightwing Teleport does secure him. That Water Elemental will go down, but a very nice turnaround from Andy Lendy.
With Brightwing jumping to the top, that also meant that we had Virtus.Pro with 4 versus 3 at the bot lane, and therefore, without any trouble whatsoever, they could secure the Siege Giant camp, and they can even try to steal this one away. Leo now moved back down, so it's again a 4 versus 4, but that was a very interesting turn of events here that really helped the bot lane when Brightwing was forced to move to the top to help out Muradin.
Yeah, Virtus.Pro were thinking about contesting there, but decide better of it. They do back up. They have an XP lead for one of the first times here. Giant Killer for that Falstad. Improved Ice Block for Jaina. Shrink Ray on that Uther to try and deal with, I guess any of the warriors charging forward here. An imposing will on the Tyrael.
Yeah, Shiku might be in a bit of trouble there. Yeah, not eating the damage, jumping away just in time, but now that exposes also the turret, and this is additional experience that Virtus.Pro picks up. They're starting to move in, but the same is also true at the bot lane, where we're seeing the exact same move from their opponents. The Mighty Gust buying a bit more time, but for how long? We have the 13 talents now for both of the teams in play. At the top lane, the fort is nearly destroyed, and thanks to the Mighty Gust, it is actually Gamers2 that is pushing a bit slower. So we are seeing a rotation happening on the side of Virtus.Pro, securing themselves another Bruiser camp, but it looks like Gamers2 is just saying, like, you know what, we're gonna go for keep.
Yeah, and with Muradin back at base for Gamers2, they're going to be able to hold this lane for a bit. Virtus.Pro reacting by going B. But Gamers2 already on top of this. They're just backing away from this. They're going to probably get that Bruiser camp in the bot lane. Brightwing teleporting to the top lane to help out Shiku in taking down this push lane. So Gamers2 with great rotations here.
Yeah, the rotation we have that happening again with Juve and Nika also like moving through the map. Andy Lendy is still there. But I'm really liking the control now once again for Virtus.Pro. They are already in position at both of the shrines and they might be able to sneak this one. They could even... there it is! They sneak it in just in time. For some reason, Gamers2 focusing more on Jaina and Falstad than actually securing that Dragon Knight. I don't think they actually saw the hero.
Yeah, they noticed indeed. So very interesting there. We did see Andy Lendy with a great Ice Block to block out the strafe from Valor, but that Dragon Knight getting the front wall of this mid lane and can now begin, if they want, to push in to the fort. They have everyone there, but no, the rest of the team rotating down to the bot lane. A couple hovering around in this mid jungle area to see if they can catch someone out. Yeah,
they're trying to catch one of the heroes, maybe Leo, but they can't really go for him just yet. At the bot lane, there's still a fort that they could attack, and they're trying to do this. Despite all these Dragon Knights that we've seen on the side of Virtus.Pro and the moves just recently, we have still a lead in experience for the Polish team. Gamers2 is going to be the first team to hit level 16. If it continues this way, the Dragon Knight is trying to get some damage in, but Gela can't really do too much with Shiku always trying to counterplay.
Yeah, she's been doing a great job with this countering the Dragon Knight. Rest of the team coming back in, and Dragon Knight does get killed off here. So once again, not too much damage. They take out the front wall of the mid lane, and the bot lane is now under some serious duress, but really not as good of a use of a Dragon Knight as they would have really liked.
Dragon Knights, of course, scale over time, so this early in the game, it's not really the biggest issue to deal with him. But right now, we have that level talent advantage for Gamers2, and that's a much bigger deal. So we have now 16 versus 16 since Virtus.Pro just secured that own talent. From here on out, I feel the Dragon Knights are going to be much more important since the scaling is going to affect it a lot. But over here, the kill against Jaina. Ice block not saving her for long enough. Even that mighty gust attempt by Sevka did not help to save the hero.
Yeah, interesting attempt there, but Jaina getting caught out of position. Sevka going to be hit by that chain bomb, not spreading it to anything. Very nice there. And Virtus.Pro on the back foot here. Sonya beginning to make her way up to try and help defend this, but when they're down Jaina, they do not have a huge amount of AoE damage. Kayla waiting over the wall to try and look for an engagement opportunity, but Tyrael getting focused down here.
Oh, Tyrael needs to be careful using Sanctification too, but has to move back here. Sanctification in this case didn't really help him too much, but he wanted to make sure that he doesn't die here. If he falls as well, then they find themselves in this vicious circle where you're always down one hero and can't really engage your opponent. It's still 16 versus 17. The lead for Gamers2 is definitely a thing, but still, it's even talents. So right now, Virtus.Pro can still win these fights. 6 kills against 2. And Gamers2, they're doing really well here, despite the fact that they haven't secured a single Dragon Knight yet.
Yeah, Gamers2 are keeping ahead in XP, etc. But if Virtus.Pro can grab a Dragon Knight, especially if it's after 20 minutes, for example, and get a good opportunity to get a push, doesn't matter if they're behind levels, they can win if they get a nice, strong DK and push very effectively with it.
Yeah, in the mid lane, we already see Juve starting to move in with the Condemn against BKB. Rune Smite can still be used. There's already the Mighty Gust. Juve wasn't even affected since he used Iron Skin in time. Top Shrine claimed now by Gela. The Mercenary Camp is also pushing in the same lane. And at the bot lane, we have one Shrine captured by Gamers2 to make sure that at least this time, Virtus.Pro has to work for the Dragon Knight.
Yeah, and the Johanna on the side of Gamers2 here, Juve, is just doing so much damage in general here. Just due to the fact that he has that raw, like we said earlier, the 50% extra damage, and the Sin's exposed, which combos so well with that chain bomb from the Qualifiers and the multi-shot from Valor. They can just drop a lot of extra damage from that. And when she's in the fight, Burning Rage is helping too.
We have a switch in Shrines now. The bottom Shrine has been taken by Virtus.Pro, whereas up to the top Gamers2 claimed number 2. It was actually interesting to see Gela move straight into the middle since they realized they would have a small window where they control both Shrines, but Gamers2 denied that. It still allowed them with a rotation to take the fort at the bot lane, so that worked out for them. Whoa! From the back! He came from behind. Shiku moves in, but now Muradin might be in trouble. It looks like Virtus.Pro has eaten too much damage already, though. Nice Sanctification, really well played here. Sevka gets out of it. I have no idea how that happened, but Shiku is already high on his heels and is taking Falstad out.
Great polymorph there onto Gela, making sure she couldn't get all her damage off, and now she's in full retreat. There's the Whirlwind to try and keep herself alive. Unstable. Gets hit by the Stormbolt. Muradin, mini Muradin in this case, is still continuing to chase. Sonya gets taken down, and now it is just Uther in danger. Can Shihu catch him up? The heals are nice. There's the stun from Unstable. He's now with BKB. There's the speed boost from Smite. And Unstable gets out of here, but this will be the first Dragon Knight of the game going over to Gamers2.
And also level 20 in a few seconds. You just need a Breath of Fire too, and a few heroes dropping anything here, and it will be the Storm talents for them, and there they are. Great play by Gamers2. Incredible, powerful fight that they had here. That flank from Muradin from behind, at first it didn't look like too much, but they were able to just put so much pressure on Falsa that he couldn't put the damage in, was trying to escape, everybody focusing on keeping him alive, and now Gamers2, after a very solid performance here, is going for the core, and looks like they're gonna get it. Vala went into Nexus Frenzy. They're going for the damage challenge. They're trying to drop it, and they will do it.
And they're gonna take it down. Dragon Knight's still completely full health, and that is GG. Virtus.Pro, despite the best efforts, got caught out in that fight, and Gamers2 will move on to the finals to play against Team Fnatic.
Very, very well played here by Gamers2. I mean, that was a pretty incredible performance. I mean, Virtus.Pro, they lost the fights, but they secured the objective several times. They were just not able to really do anything with it. The first Dragon Knight allowed them at least to take a couple of structures, since it always forced a reaction out of Gamers2, so they could rotate to the opposite lane with dropping a few towers. But then the second one didn't really do anything. It was just too well counterplayed by Gamers2, and Virtus.Pro couldn't capitalize on it.
Yeah, if that situation had been reversed maybe, where Virtus.Pro had been able to take down 2 members maybe and grab the Dragon Knight, they would have still been in a situation, they would have had level 20, but they still could have moved in and maybe taken the lead in XP, but because Gamers2 finally got the Dragon Knight in their own hands with a couple members of Virtus.Pro down, that was just game over. They had the XP advantage, they had the talent advantage, and the Dragon Knight. That is the situation where you just push for the win.
That, of course, also means that we have 2 best-of-3s left for the day. First of all, we are starting with our third place decider, where we see Poor Team going up against Virtus.Pro, and then our grand final with Fnatic going up against Gamers2. So, guys, we're going to head into a short break, and then we will have the next series ready. I'm going to start with the first map and the first draft between Poor Team and Virtus.Pro, where both of these teams still have a chance to secure themselves $1,500 in prize money, which is still a pretty nice pocket change.
Yeah.
So that's what they're going to try and go for. The 4th place, unfortunately, doesn't win anything. And yeah, therefore, both of them have to give their best to bring their A game now to the table to make sure that they at least go home with a bit of prize money. So guys, I'm going to see you in just a few with the next match here at the WCA Qualifier.